Today on Mad Facts with Pat, we're going to talk about wine in the ancient world, what people drank, why they drank it, and is it like the wine we drink today? Or at least, was it somewhat like the wine we drink today? So did the ancient Romans drink wine that was like this beautiful 2019 Chianti? Or did they drink something more like this 2022 red wine vinegar? Well, let's find out. So for Romans, particularly Roman soldiers and laborers and people of the lower classes, it appears that rather than the fine wine, which many people have the illusion that every Roman in the ancient world, everybody living in the Roman Empire, had access to, the truth is, it was probably something more like this. The average person in the ancient Roman world who couldn't afford fine wine probably drank something that was more like wine vinegar that we know of today. And in the ancient Rome, it was known as Posca. And typically it's translated as vinegar, wine vinegar, or sour wine, all of which don't exactly describe what Posca was. Did people drink Posca in order to get intoxicated? Probably not. And did they drink it necessarily because it tasted good? Well, I guess they could have eventually acquired a taste for it, but it's not the most joyful thing on someone's palate, so that probably wasn't a primary reason either for its use. Historians who are actually looking into the question of Posca and ancient Roman wine usually think that one of the primary considerations for the use of Posca and this wine vinegar, we'll roughly use it that way, is to use as a cutting agent for water. You got to remember, in the ancient world, water was of dubious quality and often had bad smells and bacteria that were endemic in ancient water supplies. So Posca may have helped alleviate some of that vileness from the water itself, both smell and in quality. Posca and vinegar have high contents of acetic and ascorbic acid, later being vitamin C, which you need for a healthy diet. Now, vitamin C, you guys know, is really important, and it's unlikely that Roman soldiers and poor people would have had a constant, steady supply of access to fruit. So another source of vitamin C, which may have been supplied by Posca, was readily available. So it was also, in a way, dietarily beneficial to drink this sour wine. Scurvy in the ancient world was actually a real risk of a very painful and protracted death from a low concentration of vitamin C in your diet. Now, acetic acid actually has very good antimicrobial properties and is particularly good in killing or reducing Streptococcus and Enterococcus, again, two common water contaminants in the ancient world. And if you want to know where Enterococcus came from and how it got in the water supply, you need to go watch our episode on wiping your ass in the ancient world, because it's from feces. Shit in their water. But yeah, go watch that episode. So how did they actually mix water and Posca together to get this perfect blend that was just palatable enough that you could acquire a taste for it, but strong enough to help reduce bacteria and the bad smell of water? Well, the truth is, we don't know, and it's possible, and I think it's somewhat likely, that the actual mix varied regionally. In some places where the water was a little more nasty, they had higher concentrations of the vinegar component to water. In places where the water was more palatable and generally cleaner, they probably had a lower concentration of vinegar, which made it easier to drink and more readily available and could be mass produced on a larger scale because of the factor of dilution and profiteering. So the next time you're sitting around watching some movie where two Roman soldiers on guard duty are just getting liquored up, drinking their daily ration of Posca, or wine, just remember, they're probably not getting drunk off it. It probably doesn't taste super good. Like everything in the movies, it's probably a bunch of bullshit. Posca was widely used throughout the ancient world, and they reserved the finer wines for the middle and upper class, or for special events where getting intoxicated was the actual primary goal. And that's just another mad fact with Pat.